everybody, I'm at my friend Zach's shop with RS Restorations. We're looking at his 1964 Chevrolet C10 fleet side short bed. We're getting ready to bag this thing. So we have an Air Slam It full air ride kit with the Airlift 3P system ordered. We have the KP component step notch and Watts link. We've got the VelaWorks front and rear do-it-yourself bag kit, CPP drop spindles, and disc brakes. He's pulling the engine out and putting a bigger cam in it. We're redoing the interior. There's not much that we're not doing to this truck. We've got transport wheels coming, got videos on painting those up. We've got videos on how to weld in drop pockets. So hey, stay tuned. So this truck is named, you guessed it, Black Dice. So stay tuned for the Black Dice build. We hope you get excited about it because we definitely are. Making progress. We got that bed off without crushing it. Praise God, that's the good thing about having two people. But yeah, we got the bed off. Now we're ready to start on this rear frame here. Frame looks in really good shape actually, so once we get the exhaust out of there, get some of the shocks out, start cutting the cross members up, it'll be time to put in that KP component step notch. And then here in just about a week, we'll have that VelaWorks rear do-it-yourself slam kit. I'll be talking all about that kit, how to install it. We'll walk step by step how to do that. So yeah, stay tuned. We're making progress. Thanks for watching. All right, we're gonna go ahead and pull this exhaust out, get the transmission out, drive shaft out. That way, whenever we start working on this again, we're ready to start on the rear setup. So stay tuned. Got the exhaust out. Now we're going to take this drive shaft out of there. Then it'll be transmission time. Coming together. All right, day one is in the books of black dice. Got a lot done today. We got the bed off, we got the exhaust off, the drive shaft out, we've got the hood off of there, transmission out, starter off, and we're ready to roll. So next time we come here, we're gonna be working on that KP component step notch in the back. Zach's gonna be working on that motor, pulling it out, painting it up, camming it up. And man, I'm excited for this build. So day one is in the books. It's looking good. Stay tuned. All right, day two of black dice. When I was gone, you see it. Zach pulled the engine out. We got that on a stand right here. He's getting that all fixed up, painted up, cammed up, all that stuff that I was talking about earlier. So right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on this rear half, and I'll walk you through all the different steps that I'm gonna take to knock this out, to get that KP component step notch in there, the VelaWorks do-it-yourself rear kit, all the things that you need to know about the rear here. We got the shocks, we got the air ride system, so many videos to come. I'm so excited. And I just wanna hop right into it now. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you a little bit of the materials that I'm gonna be using. So I just wanna share with you a couple different things that we're gonna be using for this rear half. We're gonna use one of these awesome Milwaukee step drill bit kits here. That's gonna be for the KP components notch. We'll use those for our shocks and a lot of different things. These are great drill bits. Also, we have some of this Rust-Oleum rust reformer. This will change any of the rusty areas to a paintable surface. And that's gonna help us whenever we put on this truck bed coating right here. And this is what I coated the whole frame of no association in, and it turned out awesome. Love this stuff. So I have a whole pack of these cutoff wheels that we'll be cutting the frame with, and then these will cut the rivets that hold the cross members on and a lot of different things. So you'll wanna go ahead and get a full pack of those. You go through these pretty quickly, and if you don't use them all for one build, you use these for a lot of different things. And also, I go ahead and buy a few of these thinner wheels. These are the 0.04 wheels. These cut through the frame like butter. Whenever I get ready to cut the notch, I like to use these because they just cut easier and just have a precise cut to them. The only thing with these, if you get them a little bit in a bind, they can break easily. So be careful with that, but these work great. We also have some 40 grit flat discs. These are gonna be, after we make our cuts, we can use these to smooth them out just a little bit. That way they're not sharp edges. So these are really good to have. I like to have some 40 and 80, 120, whatever. These come in handy for a lot of different things. These can clean off your frame really well. So before I just jump right into this, I wanted to talk through a little bit of my process. So what I do is I like to get the frame jacked up, about to do that, and put some jack stands underneath the frame right about there, halfway. Get these wheels off of here, and then that'll give me room where I can cut this bump stop off. So you'll see I'll cut that on the sides, then I'll cut the rivets off, and then I'll hammer it off. And then I want to get those springs out of here, and then we can cut the U-bolts off of the rear end if they won't come out with the nuts. A lot of the times, the older they are, it's just easier to cut them on both sides and hammer those out. We'll want to remove this brake line here and the panhard bar. and then remove this bracket right here because we're gonna put that Watts link that bolts to the back of the rear end. So that's gonna need out of the way. We'll cut that off. And then once we get all of that done, we will begin to cut these rivets. You'll see those right there. We'll put an X in them and we'll grind them off. And then once we get all those ground down, then we'll start cutting the cross member out. Wanted to pause for a second. We've got the shocks off. We've got the panhard bar out. And then I was trying to take these springs out. And I want to show you something here. So that is like a square right here. So it was spinning. And I tried to put a 3/4 inch wrench, but it keeps popping off. And I tried to put some vice grips. It keeps popping off. So if you run into this situation, which we run into these situations a lot with these old rusty trucks, what I'm gonna do is get out the old angle grinder and I'm gonna cut off the top of that bolt right there. I'm just gonna cut that off and then get these springs out. So I wanna just encourage you, if you run into issues like this, don't let it ruin your day. Don't spend a ton of time on those. The thing is, those bolts are gonna have to change when we put the bag in there anyway. So if we can cut it out, save us some time, it's not gonna be parts that we hold on to. So I'm gonna cut that out on both sides and get this rear ready to start cutting the brackets off of and the bump stops and the cross members. So keep making progress. If you run into an issue, especially on these old trucks, if you can just cut something and cut it off and not mess anything up, then go for it, man. So both of those springs had to be cut out. And then on that driver's side, I really had to pry to get that bolt out of there. But I did it. I cut the bottom off of both ends. I used a pry bar to get that bolt out. Now we just have to remove the top of the spring right here. And then after that, we'll try to get those U-bolts out of there. And we'll be ready to go. right, just to recap what we've done. We've taken the shocks out. We've got the springs out of there. Those were a little bit tough, but we got them out. And we've got the panhard bar out of there. I've pulled all the wires back, pulled those up there. And we're getting ready to disconnect this brake line here because we're gonna need that out of the way to cut the cross members out of there. Once we get those out of the way, we can cut these U-bolts out of here, get the whole rear end out of the way, clean up these trailing arms. Make sure to keep those. We're going to use those for the shock installation later on. Making progress. This is exactly where we want it to start cutting out these cross members. Springs are out, rear ends out, shocks, panhard bar. I've got the brake lines moved out of the way, all the electrical moved out of the way. So we're ready to just start cutting on it and getting ready for this KP component step notch. And then we'll clean everything up, we'll paint it, then we'll start installing some of the VelaWorks stuff. And yeah, that's what it looks like. Just kind of give you a quick overview of what we're going to be doing next. So first I'm going to start out by cutting off this bump stop bracket. Then after that, probably go ahead and cut out this bracket and then this one. And the best way that I've found to do that is to just put X's in each one of these and then grind it off. Just use a cutting wheel and cut it all the way off with the frame. Get all those underneath and on top cut, and then smack it a few times with a hammer to see if it's loose. If it's not, and it's super stuck after you've done all that, worst case scenario, you can just go ahead and cut this and use a pry bar to get in between there, and that'll work as well. So I'll show you how I do it. There's a lot of different ways to do it. You can use a step drill bit to drill out all the rivets, but I found out that that's more time consuming and it just costs more money. Those step drill bits are like $40-something a piece. So you'd go through a couple of those doing this. I'd rather use a 4 or 5 grinding disc that are $3 or $4 a piece and save some money and save time. So yeah, things are about to get loud and sparky. Let's move on. Okay, the bump stop brackets aren't too bad to get off. A lot of grinding. Now we're getting ready to do this cross member here. This is a little bit trickier. So, of course, just more rivets. And we've got to get under it. And then everything's going to be tight. And then this bracket has to come off. So, just start grinding off the tops here. I'm going to start with these top 3 right here. And get those off on both sides. Then I'll crawl up under the bottom. Then we'll whack on it a few times, see if it moves. And just continue to cut on this old truck. Cross member is out. That's one of the hardest things to get out. It actually came out not too bad. So now we have to take out this little brace. There's 4 little rivets there. Sorry, 5 little rivets there sitting in a tree, KISSING. So we're gonna get rid of those because it's no PDA. So hang in there. A lot of grinding, a lot of hammering. We're making progress. We're really close. This looks good. Phoebe over there got cat scratch fever. Thank you again for supporting this channel. If you've yet to subscribe, hit the subscribe button. And I just wanted to remind you, if you click the title of this video, all the links are in the description for the different products that I use. Click those and get your build started today. See you next time.